The lowest level of morality, also the most common, is egoism. The egoist defines the good quite narrowly.
Why don't you go vegan?
What is good for me
Because I don't want to.
is good. He even denies the appearance of the will in other people.
Be so pushy and mean.
The egoist says, but to me, my will seems the only one. From this naive standpoint, every other thing and every other person exists to benefit the egoist's will.
Every individual makes himself the center of the world and considers his own existence and well-being before everything else. This disposition is egoism.
At the intermediate level of morality, people stop denying the will of others. They still seek to affirm their own will, but not to the extent that they choose to injure others. At this level, we're no longer egoists, pure and simple. We've reached a stage of enlightened self-interest.
In order to increase his own well-being, he will not inflict suffering on others. That is to say, he will not commit any crime. He will respect the rights and property of everyone.
Such a man gradually discerns the truth that the will to live, which he finds in himself, is also present in others.
He does not, like the bad man, affirm merely his own phenomenon of will and deny all others. That others are not for him mere masks, whose inner nature is quite different from his. On the contrary, he shows by his way of acting that he again recognizes his own inner being, namely the will to live as thing in itself, in the phenomenon of another. Thus he finds himself again in that phenomenon up to a certain degree, namely that of doing no wrong, that is, of not injuring.
We move to progressively higher levels of morality. We began with egoism, moved to enlightened self-interest. Now we advance to the third stage, altruism. Here, we're willing to neglect our own interests to help others. An altruist recognizes that the will in others is the same as his will, so that their suffering is also his.
He recognizes immediately and without reasons or arguments that the in itself of his own phenomenon is also that of others, namely that will to live, which constitutes the inner nature of everything and lives in all. In fact, he recognizes that this extends even to the animals and to the whole of nature. He will therefore not cause suffering.
Altruists recognize that all creatures are joined together in a single life. But since the nature of life itself is suffering, salvation is achieved not through altruism, but through the fourth and final stage of morality, asceticism. Asceticism, the highest expression of morality, is a denial of the senses, a denial of all desires, a denial of the will to live.